The best way to predict the future is to invent it. Stephen Ambrose brings you up to speed on what the future holds as he explores the latest technology as it impacts our lives.
Well, welcome back to Tech Talk right here on High FM. And an interesting week. It had some real fun figuring out what we're going to talk about today. And I want to try to keep it very useful and very up to date in terms of what is available out there that you can use for all sorts of different reasons. But we'll get stuck into that later. We're looking at smart tools that help your daily life. And a really important topic. I know AI never leaves this show, but AI is completely and utterly reshaping everything that we do today. And in some ways, if you just step back and have a look at it, it's not new. It's just an accelerated way to do things that we've done before and do it in a way that gives us tools and power that we never had. So really, really useful. Then we'll round up with some of the latest news, some interesting stuff going on in South Africa, and possibly a handy tip or two just to get you on your way in this new way of working. So moving straight into the gadget of the week. And I know that of late the power failures have stopped for the most part. There are a couple of interruptions here and there, but load shedding seems to be a bad memory or a bad dream of what happened in the past. However, don't think for 1 minute that this cannot happen again and happen fast. So power backup, power solutions, and other sort of resilience things that you can do to keep your life going and keep you connected to the radio and the internet, because without that, all else has no meaning. And I say that in the most positive way. But truly, imagine having no connectivity for hours at a time. It happens, but generally at the worst and least convenient time. You've got to make payments, you've got to send invoices, you've got to do stuff, navigate, whatever. No connection. None of that stuff works. So as usual, I've been looking into solutions that can help make me and friends and everyone that I talk to a little bit more resilient in the craziness that we live in. And something that's I've come across that looks extremely solid. I've played with an older version, not the latest one, but this one really brings things right up to date. And that is the Anker Solix, and it's an Solix if you want to Google that or AI it, whatever. S2000 portable power station. Now, this is not a backup battery. It's not a little thing you keep in your wallet, your bag, your purse, or around just to give you an extra charge or two on your phone. This is a serious power backup device. It has 2,048 watt-hour capacity, not kilowatts, watt-hour capacity. And that can run a fridge for many hours, power lights and fans, charge laptops, phones, and even support small medical equipment during load shedding or outages. Now, it's more than a UPS, or less than a UPS, but more than a battery. Now, uninterruptible power supplies are extremely heavy, extremely powerful, and some of them aren't even as big as 2 kilowatt. A 2 kilowatt UPS generally had massive transformers, is big and heavy. Well, this little Anker device is not exactly not heavy. There are batteries inside, but it's got 4 power outlets on the front. It's got a really informative screen. It's got some handy carry handles, and it's just generally very easy to get around. It's a little heavy, but not enormously so. One person can easily pick it up, put it in a boot, do what you need to do, pull it out, and it charges relatively quickly, even for the size and the number of batteries. It really does charge relatively quickly when you get it out, when you need to use it and when you get it out. So it also supports fast solar charging, which is great if you've got panels, if you're traveling, if you're away from the power grid entirely. As I said, lots of multiple AC outlets. It's got USB-C, fast charging ports, which is really important. You can use them to charge laptops, run all sorts of stuff. In fact, some people I know are charging e-bikes with this device, which makes quite a big difference. And lots of medical equipment comes with USB-C chargers or chargers that you need. So really, it is really simple to use, simple to deploy, and fast. Now, the new one, the latest one, the 226 version, is quieter. They've got a fan inside because the inverter that uses lots of power. So it's much quieter than older models. So you can use it in the bedroom. You can use it to sleep with. Much better battery quality. They won't tell us exactly what they've done, but they say that the battery is now going to last a lot longer, has slightly higher capacity, and better efficiency rating. So it'll charge faster, it'll last longer, and hopefully the batteries themselves will last a little bit longer. So any business who's really looking for something that is more than a UPS and yet does the job exactly the same in a very portable, easy to use, easy to move around little box, then I highly recommend you look at the Anker Solix 2000. The prices vary. They're not enormously cheap, but they are not crazy expensive. I've seen prices from round about 17 to 25,000 depending. So check it out. It really does make a big difference, and it makes power uncertainty into something that's just a little bit more manageable. You just need an extension cord and a couple of plugs, and away you go. You can keep going wherever you are, no matter what the power things are. A lot of people are using them for camping trips, for going down to the Vaal sometimes. Whatever your daily sort of day comes up with, it adds just an easy, portable, lowish cost dimension to your power. And in the horrible event that we have some form of load shedding, again, can easily be whipped out, run your TV, run your internet, run a couple of lights, and for quite a few hours. So it's not something that'll just, die in a short while. So if you really want to have a quick look at what it does, you can get it with panels as well if you want. They come separately, but you can get charging sun panels, which make, I think, a really smart move, especially if you're going to be traveling or going, come the summertime, going down to the beach or doing things away from this traditional grid. It really makes a big difference that you can charge it during the day and use it during the night. And all of that, if you just check out their website, it's the Anker Solix official page. So it's Anker Solix, ANKERSOLIX.com. It should come up with your local one, but if not, have a look on the various review sites or on the various, I know Take-A-Lot and Amazon definitely sell all the Anker gear, and you should be able to find all the detail on that. And that makes a really big difference to your sort of resilience in terms of power and what you need to do. And who doesn't need a little plan B when things go a little crazy? I mean, power cuts come for lots of different reasons. And also, as I said, for traveling, when you're out and about, you want a bit of extra power. If you're working, I know dog groomers have been using it. They come to your house, instead of plugging into your stuff, they've got this little goodie, they plug their grooming kit in there and off you go. Hairdressers, I can come up with a million ideas, to have power when you go. Certainly quieter than a noisy little petrol generator, and a lot less weight. And on that note, we've got a quick break for our sponsors, and I'll be back with a live read straight after this.
This is Tech Talk with Stephen Ambrose on 101.9 High FM.
Well, welcome back. And before we get stuck into what I think is a really interesting topic, and that's creativity tools, how AI and the various new tools that are available on the market are helping content creators, students, and I think let's focus on small business and all of us in everyday life in 2026. We'll get into that in a few secs. But first, I have to tell you that Dis-Chem Wellness Clinics for Adults offers convenient and professional care to help you manage your health risks. Whether you are having regular wellness checks such as blood pressure or cholesterol, Dis-Chem Wellness Clinics offer you a broad range of health screening services, including female health screening with pap smears, family planning, and pregnancy screening. All of this is fast, affordable, and always done with care. Find your nearest Dis-Chem Wellness Clinic inside Dis-Chem pharmacies. They're popping up everywhere across the nation. Better health starts here. Now, moving into our 20-minute sort of expanded topic section. And AI creativity tools are absolutely everywhere. If you do any form of search, if you just watch any social media, they pop up all the time as adverts, as possibilities. But they are, frankly, opening up completely new doors for all of us in 2026. And beyond just the basic chat or asking interesting questions, there are unbelievably powerful systems that help generate images, and all the major AI platforms do generate images from simple text commands, and some of them can create short videos. You cannot believe the amount of information that is possible. They also can edit videos, write scripts, compose music. And on a quick digression around composing music, the whole question of AI generated music on platforms like Spotify, on Tidal, and many others has become a huge area of concern for most people. Sometimes it is almost impossible to pick up that a beautiful piece of music written for whatever reason with a really decent sounding name and an artist that looks exactly as they should is actually 100% generated by AI. And here's where it gets really interesting, and something I didn't even consider, but once you find out, it's obvious. What people do is they use the AIs to generate these musics. They take a genre, call it folk or pop or whatever, and they generate many, many songs or many, many tracks, in fact, complete albums. They then load them, because you can self-publish on these platforms. They load them on the platform, and then they use AI to play them. And then they get paid royalties, which sounds like money for nothing. Well, it is. I mean, basic AIs, not basic, but fairly advanced AI platforms can churn the stuff out endlessly for very low cost. You then load them up with all the graphics and all the information that looks like a legitimate song. You then use an AI platform to play it as many times as possible in a short while. And people have been earning tens, if not hundreds, thousands of dollars out of royalties from the various platforms. Well, right now, Tidal just announced, and I'm sure Spotify have a very similar platform going on. They've just announced that they have built a AI detector into their platform. And if it detects any AI music, it will then add a notification on the Tidal app, wherever you listen to Tidal, that this is purely AI generated, and no royalties will be paid on that content. It won't remove it. You can play it, because some of it actually, frankly, is really nice to listen to. It's really better than some of the sort of elevator music you hear elsewhere. But they will not pay any royalties on purely AI-derived music unless they get direct and verifiable information from the composer that it was done by a human being, at least at some level, and the AI was only used for certain parts of it, or whatever the case may be. But there's been a huge backlash against purely AI-generated music. So the lesson with that is, you can create music, you can create graphics, you can do what you want on AI, but do not try to monetize it or to use it in a way and deceive people that this is real art, real music, real writing, whatever it is, because as smart and as convincing as an AI can be, other AIs can figure out that that's not real. And then it can actually be a hell of a problem for you in terms of your reputation, whatever it is that you do. But if you use these incredible tools to turn rough ideas into polished content, and keeps you firmly in control as the human director, it can absolutely revolutionize how you do everything. And I mean, there's no limit. If you sit down and think of everything that you do in a day, everything that you work on, be it creative, and I'm talking to creators, you make YouTube videos, you make TikToks, you make music, you make jingles. It doesn't matter what you do. In fact, maybe I'll talk to the team at Chai. We'll create a complete AI jingle for the show going forward, and we'll broadcast it without any human intervention, and see if any of you can pick that up and see that this was not a real person creating a real jingle for a real radio show. But it's that sort of stuff that can easily be done. And these tools use what they call advanced multimodal models that understand your text prompts, your images, or voice instructions. So, for example, you can describe a scene. I want a vibrant market stall with fresh produce and Zulu signage or Xhosa signage or Afrikaans signage, whatever, and let the AI go off and create customized visuals and try it. It is absolutely ridiculous. Video tools can then turn this into a script and create a short clip with transitions. And while writing assistants can create a whole story, outline and describe the products on sale or whatever. If you're teaching, can take certain information and create structured lesson plans based on formulae and sort of rubrics that have been created for whatever. So if it's for nursery school children, there's one rubric. If there's not many rubrics for nursery school kids. But anyway, any form of structure from university to extra education can be used to create these plans. And some of these platforms, and I'll mention them here because they're really well worth checking out, include Mid-Journey or DALL-E, so DALL-E, and they've got variants for images, Runway ML, or Descript for video editing, which are really good. Runway ML I've tried, Descript I haven't, but both of them come highly recommended. They're more expensive tools you can pay for, like Adobe or Adobe, depends who you are and where you pronounce it, Firefly for design integration, and Google has a huge toolbox of tools for music and text. It's pretty insane, and images as well. Check out Google's tools. If you're using Gmail and you pay for it, you'll get certain extra benefits because they sort of a part of the bundle. So, but even if you don't, a lot of these tools for basic work are completely free, and the limitations are not truly extensive. But once you see the benefit, I can tell you, they nickel and dime you and they charge you $5 for this and $5 for that, and all the dollars add up. But they are revolutionary. And the best way to get into this is just to try. Find a text generator and ask it to write you something. Find an image generator and ask it in simple terms, and then modify it and change it and play with it until you get exactly what it is that you're looking for. The same with music. So what is happening now is that they've actually become faster in the last few months and way more accurate at following style guidelines. And they're also, which is quite incredible, becoming way better at local cultural nuances. So what used to be a huge thing, so just take a website. What used to be an incredibly difficult thing to do was to customize a website in 15 different languages. Each one needed a translator, a checker. I mean, there were some crazy things that I tried when I tried some websites for foreign countries. You use words completely inappropriately, or you say things that the translate gives you that colloquially mean either completely opposite things, or they're just frankly hilarious. So all of that was hugely expensive, completely difficult, and now it's almost as simple as saying, I'd like you to try to make my website available in German, French, Italian, and Spanish. Make sure it's colloquial and refer to any local particular uses of language in a specific way to ensure that it remains relevant to the target market. That's a prompt. It's a simple thing as that, and you will easily get the necessary, if not the direct code, easily how you can go about doing this, or to instruct your web people to say, this is what I was looking for, this is what the AI said I need, can you implement this and get it going? So again, instead of weeks and months of Googling and figuring out where this comes from, how to do these sort of things, you simply ask the AI for a simple guideline or prompt. Ask it which tool would best suit this type of work, and it'll probably give you a whole range of different things. I've mentioned a few, I'll say them again. Mid-Journey, DALL-E, Runway ML, or Descript for video editing, Adobe Firefly for design integration that combines text and all sorts of things, and Google's tools. Really well worth looking at and fiddling. And the more I talk to people, the more I mention this and the more I have discussions around AI and what it can do for us, creators, anyone who does any form of YouTube, TikTok, or any form of visual or audio or video stuff is using more and more tools to get their products really professional. What you needed a massive studio for can now be done with a laptop, a screen, and a couple of, microphone and a couple of speakers, and off you go. You come up with them and a decentish camera. Obviously, if the source material is not great, you can't keep everything artificial. You sometimes need real videos to make it look real. But all of that is now well within the reach of pretty much anybody. And you can just create amazing products, authentic local stuff on a budget that you would never have even considered before. And it'll be as polished, as professional as a top studio used to generate. Someone like a baker a regional baker can generate professional packaging designs and then link everything to social media posts. Students can create visual aids for assignments and practice presentations easily and make them really polished with transitions, with videos, all the stuff you needed to be a bit of an expert at using Office or one of the various similar Office type programs and PowerPoint programs. You can now do really simply with really polished designs and graphics and videos and you name it, without actually leaving one of the major products like, for example, Perplexity. It's a huge AI platform that combines the AI engines of multiple different AI engines all into one very, very clever, context-sensitive product. And I mention again Perplexity. It's not the cheapest. It's a little bit more expensive than Claude once you start eating tokens. But essentially, its ability to very smartly come up with whatever it is that you're looking to do. And we'll talk about the ethics of this in a moment, because once you make something and it's the fruit of your production, even if you use AI, it remains something unique to you. It remains useful. If you simply use it in a deceptive manner where you purport that this was you and it was actually fully AI generated for whatever reason, it becomes a whole different ethical thing. And in many ways, will actually land up creating more problems down the road, because people can always pick up when something is not entirely natural or criminal. Also remember, these so-called intelligences are not actually intelligent. They're just extremely good workers that need direction and expertise and inspiration and the spark that only a human being can bring to real creative work. So the genuine creators, people who really want to up their game and take things to the next level, can use the AI tools to absolutely move the quality of what they do into highly professional, highly effective product, which has the desired impact. And what is so cool is that you can test that impact using the tools before it goes live. So you can ask it to go and have a look at what people are watching on YouTube and come up with information. What are the most popular stuff? How does it work? How would my videos fit into that genre? Does it make sense? Is it too similar? You can really play a lot with a creative process in a way that gives you feedback that would normally take weeks or months. So think of it that way. And the benefits are truly practical and incredibly empowering for the small guy, because you don't need to spend hours upon hours on production, going backwards and forwards and seeing and mastering and checking and that. You can do it all in minutes. It's absolutely insane. You can improve the learning, as I said earlier, by iterating with AI suggestions. So you can just keep asking at fairly low cost and very low overhead for it to what if, what about this, what about that? And you can keep looking and seeing. And all this has massive cost savings for small businesses and for you and I, if you want to start a little side hustle or do anything that you do, even if it's just to advertise your kid's birthday party and send out a beautiful little invitation to everybody. What the heck? But mostly for all of us, no one minds a quick side hustle, but you can certainly market your services much more effectively and potentially increase the scope and the scale of your business considerably at a cost that could not even be vaguely approached a couple of years ago, never mind, 10, 15 years ago. But here is where it gets super, super interesting and super problematic. As I said, the benefits are considerable, but the considerations and the use of AI brings with it the danger that you become lazy. Let's call it exactly what it is. It is so easy to simply whack out a piece of work, whatever that work be, video, audio, whatever. I mean, with all true honesty, I do use AI to create the shows that I do, and I use it to go through all the various websites that I used to go through. It used to take me hours and hours and hours to prepare this radio show and collate all the information, and I had a page worth of links and topics and press releases and all sorts of things. Now I link my email to the AI. I ask it to go through global and local websites, blogs, and any form of tech reporting or whatever, and to pick out based on what I feel for the week. So I set up a framework. This is the best way to explain it. I've set up a framework. I know more or less what's the hot topics because I keep in touch with all the stuff that's going on. I go to a couple of events now and then, and you pick up a lot of information. All of that is fed into an AI model, and the little model robot, and I use Perplexity and I use Grok. Those are my two go-tos. And it comes up with a really interesting, well-structured, based on the structure that I created. And I hope for all of you, an interesting show. And that is how I cut hours and hours of work into a couple of hours of work, because this is where it gets important. AI is a powerful starting point. It is not the finished work. It is not something that you can create, download, and present. You have to respect a lot of things. One, copyright laws. You have to be transparent, as I've just been, when sharing AI-assisted content. And you've got to add your unique human perspective, either a combination of cultural, local flavor, personal touch, style, whatever it is that is you uniquely and that you have built up. So I've been doing this show, interestingly now, for nearly 13 years, right here on Chai FM. It's almost bar mitzvah. So it's pretty insane that the years just fly by and the technology keeps changing. And now I'm using a unique AI platform to help me do it. So you can't take the human out. Everything that I've done in the past feeds into what I do in the future. And avoid the ethics of this matter enormously. Avoid over-reliance on these tools so that you keep developing your own skills and your own voice. This is truly, truly important. I mean, theoretically, a radio station like Chai could easily create 50% or even close to 100% of its content with very good voices for everything that they do. And it would be a simple matter of setting up formats, frameworks, and letting it run continuously. For many people, they wouldn't notice, but the entire soul, the heart, the magic of what this program and every other artwork has ever done, and I combine the two with good reason, but the inherent humanness and unique character of what gets done on any platform depends on the people that are doing it and the sort of vibe that they create and the emotion that is brought to the thing. I truly love tech. I hope you can see that. And it comes through in everything that I do, that I share, that I create. AI has simply made it way more efficient. It collates all this information. It goes through thoroughly more websites than I could actually manage in the time that I have available. It picks up interesting stories and tidbits that, again, I would struggle to do. So use these tools. Look at Adobe's site for creative AI ethics and look at the local tech blogs discussing the tools that SA creators use. The creativity of AI is not replacing artists and thinkers. It's giving more people the chance to create, to share, and to build. And on that note, we're going to have another quick break for our sponsors after that little story, and we'll be back straight after this.
This is Tech Talk with Stephen Ambrose on 101.9 Chai FM.
Okay, well, a little bit of technical craziness. As I mentioned, AI, they got involved. And now moving on to the news of the week. And again, AI pops its little head into everything. Pick and Pay ASAP app adds Gemini powered assistant. Now I looked at this and I downloaded it. I didn't use their app. I was using Checker 6060 and I sort of ignored Pick and Pay, but I downloaded it and tried. It is integrated what it calls Penny, super friendly, a conversational AI assistant powered by Google's Gemini that helps users build shopping baskets through natural dialogue. I must admit, I didn't find it entirely natural. It sort of did work when I gave it a shopping list. It did ask me for my preferences, and it sort of did, and I'm sure it'll get better and better as it learns more about me. As I said, it didn't have a deep history to check for me, but it definitely did give some interesting ideas. And it did pop up a couple of products I'd not tried before, and it showed some specials. So it was pretty slick. But overall, the use of something like Penny, which is based on the Google AI platform, makes things really interesting. You can send pictures, voice, text, or even, whatever, instead of searching and scrolling. So you got it. There's a little ask button, and you can request a recipe for XYZ, let's say pasta carbonara, and you'll not only get the recipe, but you'll also get all the options for the ingredients to drop into your basket. Super simple. It is, as I said, more information you give it, the better it gets. It handles reorders, meal planning on a budget, tell it how much money you've got to spend, and you want the most protein for that money or the most whatever. And it is pretty good. The back end with Google makes it really powerful at reading pictures and whatever you take, which is really cool. You take a picture of a whole bunch of cabbages and lettuce and ask it to recommend the best one for a particular salad, etc., etc. So Gemini is pretty slick with that. It is really incredibly powerful. And right now, there's a lot of stuff going on in the sort of online grocery space. And I think that Pick and Pay have certainly not kept up with some of the market leaders who clearly are headed up by Checkers, for want of a competitor. And it's just interesting how this has happened to more and more apps, and it's going to become more and more ubiquitous. And it'll be really quite simple. You'll actually link it to your fridge at some point, and as soon as you run out of the basics, it'll just simply ship them to you within the parameters, and use your credit card like your kids do, which is with absolutely no regard to your credit limit. But anyway, check it out. If you're a Pick and Pay customer, check out Penny and see if Penny can help you shop better, come up with some cool recipes, and have a little bit more fun. Now, in another quick note, ICASA have issued new rules for dormant SIMs. And this is something really, really important. I lost a number without any warning. 1 minute it worked, next minute it was gone, and you cannot recover that number no matter how much you stand on your head and how often you phone the operator. But now operators have to issue 2 warnings before deactivating an inactive SIM card. Now mine was active, it had money on, I'd made a few calls and apparently wasn't active enough for them. So this protects users from unexpected loss of numbers, and as I said, you can pretty much never ever get a number back. It doesn't matter what you do. And just highlights the ongoing efforts to improve consumer protections in our mobile heavy market. So just be aware that if you've got for whatever reason, a mobile number that you keep for whatever reason other than your main number, and it's got a bit of money on it, and it hasn't been used for 90 days, they have to warn you twice. So we'll be back again with my last minute tips and apps straight after this. Stay tuned. We will close out with some really interesting stuff in a few minutes.
This is Tech Talk with Stephen Ambrose on 101.9 High FM.
Well, welcome back. And apparently there was some, as I said, some technical stuff somewhere in the middle there. Now, moving on to the last little segment of the show, and something really interesting. I know we talked about apps and AI for creators, but here's one that I want to add because it's a great app. It's free with strong AI features. It's called Canva, Canva. Canva's Magic Studio, and is excellent for creating quick posters, social graphics, presentations, short videos, and even product labels using simple text prompts. It's one of these sort of go-to products that once you've used it, you think, why have I never done this before? All you need to do is download the app. Please do it on Wi-Fi. Don't use it on your phone because anything video or graphic can be extremely heavy on data. So use Wi-Fi, choose a template and start a blank project. Type a description in, for example, bright and friendly market poster for whatever, some new belts that you created in your little leather thing in the backyard, and give it a real Joburg vibe. Make it local, make it interesting. And I'm going to have it at the flea market near Genesis. I don't know if they have one, but possibly. This will generate the options. Then you can customize the colors, change the fonts, fiddle with the layout, export it, and share. And it's just, as I said, most of that, without any of the higher sort of functions, is available for free. It will really work well for any small business, for students, for any community event or association that you have, if it's the bowls or the padel or whatever. So really worth a visit. Visit canva.com, Magic Studio. It's available on the web as well. Sometimes a big screen for video is much better than a phone. And in a few minutes, you can produce some unbelievably professional looking help for your business or for your club or for your kids or for whatever it is. In fact, give it to one of your kids, let them play with it and create all the stuff you need. That's AI by proxy, which actually works extremely well. You can sit back and enjoy it and let the kids do all the work. Just an idea. I mean, I'm not proposing child labor, but certainly this is something that pretty much anyone at any proficiency of computing can use. It really takes no major knowledge of actually anything other than speaking or typing or writing or knowing what it is that you're looking for. And instead of some sort of generic piece of paper that you send out or do, or you pay your friend to do, you can do it yourself. Not that I want to take money away from your friends, but it generally makes life extremely easy. And that's Canva Magic Studio. Go to canva.com and check it out. It's pretty insane. And just to close out, again, the whole AI creation thing, the momentum is real. The tools for images, video, and content generation just continuing to advance every single day. Every time you go back, they get smarter. The new voice-based systems are making it even more accessible. You don't have to type. You do have to think, unfortunately. But if you do, you can do the most incredible stuff. And it really makes doing all sorts of stuff that you didn't even think about way easier, way cheaper. And follow this stuff. It's really important in retail tech, in regulation, events, creative tools, you name it. Any of this stuff is extremely relevant to daily life. Even if it's simply a little notice you want to send for a family gathering, you can really make it really cool, print it on a color printer, come up with some cool graphics, name tags, you name it. All of this is possible using your voice, using your words, and making things extremely easy for all of us to do the most incredible and creative stuff and really let your inner creativity shine rather than simply churn out generic work or stamps or whatever it is that you do. So on that note, this has been an extremely AI heavy program, and referring back to our anchor Solix, without power, without connectivity, you do not have any of this ability. So it's almost as important to make yourself super resilient using the tools that you have. But once you're connected and once everything's working and you have this fabulous connection to the internet, you can create and make anything using the AI tools that are available pretty much everywhere right now. And honestly, within the bounds of privacy and just general good practice, anything is truly possible. You can create, you can make, you can design, you can optimize, you can just do pretty much anything using words, using text, and using the power of all these latest tools. So stay tuned. We will keep bringing you all this crazy, interesting stuff right here on High FM. This is Stephen Ambrose for Tech Talk, wrapping up and calling it a day with an AI. I've got a couple of things to create and a couple of things to do, and I'm definitely going to be using AI for all of that. So till next week, same time, same place. And I'm very happy if you use the High FM WhatsApp line to send me messages if there's any particular product you've used that has really stood out for you in this space, and you really think that would be worth sharing that with the other people on who listen to High FM, our listeners, and let me know. I'll check it out, and I will mention who brought this to my attention if I have not mentioned it before. So on that note, we call it another day right here on High FM. This is Stephen Ambrose for Tech Talk.